Maya Rodriguez's apartment in Long Beach, California, was bathed in the golden light of dusk filtering through the half-open curtains. The air conditioner hummed quietly, struggling against the typical September heat of the American West Coast. Maya, a 28-year-old Latina woman, sat on her bed with her laptop balanced on her knees and her heart beating rapidly. Her hands trembled slightly as she stared at the blank Instagram screen. She had been thinking about this moment for weeks, but had never found enough courage. The reflection of her face on the dark phone screen beside her showed a beautiful woman with wavy brown hair that touched her shoulders, but her eyes revealed years of inner struggle and fear. "Come on, Maya," she whispered to herself, adjusting the navy blue blouse she was wearing. "It's time to tell your truth." She began typing, pausing several times, deleting entire sentences, starting over. The one-bedroom apartment she shared with her roommate Jessica was quiet. Jess had left to work the night shift at the local hospital where she was a nurse. Maya worked as a freelance graphic designer, which gave her the flexibility to work from home, but also meant she spent a lot of time alone with her thoughts. She had grown up in a conservative family in El Paso, Texas, and her transition journey had been marked by family rejection, job loss, and moments of profound loneliness. Finally, she began to write for real. "My name is Maya Rodriguez, and today I want to share my story with you. Not every day do we find the courage to be completely vulnerable, but today is one of those days for me." She paused, looking out the window where she could see palm trees swaying gently with the Pacific breeze. Long Beach had always been a refuge for her, a city where she could be herself without the judgmental stares she knew so well from her hometown. She continued typing. "5 years ago, I made the most difficult and most liberating decision of my life, publicly embracing my identity as a trans woman. It wasn't easy. I lost my family, my job at the time, and many friends I thought would always be by my side." Maya got up and went to the small kitchen, pouring herself a glass of water. Her hands were still shaking. She knew that once she published this, there would be no going back. Her story would be there for the world to see, to judge, to criticize, or perhaps to inspire. She returned to bed and continued. "But I also found a strength I didn't know I had. I discovered who I really am, and for the first time in my life, I can look in the mirror and recognize the person I see." It wasn't an easy path. Therapy, hormone treatments, surgeries, workplace discrimination, loneliness. She stopped writing and took a deep breath. She remembered her mother, Carmen Rodriguez, who hadn't spoken to her in 3 years. She remembered her father, who had said she had lost a son the day she told the truth. She remembered the boss who fired her claiming budget cuts right after she began her social transition at work. But today, as I sit here in my Long Beach apartment, watching the sunset through the window, I want you to know that every tear, every closed door, every no I received was worth it. Because today I am authentically myself. Maya added a photo of herself smiling on Long Beach Beach with her hair in the wind and a genuine smile on her face. It was a photo Jessica had taken the previous week, during one of the rare moments when Maya felt completely at peace with herself. If you're reading this and identifying with it, know that you are not alone. If you're struggling with your own identity journey, whatever it may be, know that there is hope. And if you're reading this and don't understand, that's okay too. I just ask that you remember that behind every story like mine, there is a real person with real feelings, real dreams, and the right to exist authentically. She ended the post with, "Thank you for allowing me to share a piece of my heart with you today. Trans is beautiful. My story. Authenticity. Long Beach, Maya." Looked at the complete post for long minutes. Her heart was beating so hard she could hear it. With a quick movement, before she could change her mind again, she pressed share. The post was live. She immediately closed the laptop and lay down on the bed, covering her face with her hands. There was no going back now. Her story was there for the world to see. Outside, Long Beach continued its nightly routine. Cars passing on the Pacific Coast Highway. The distant sound of waves breaking on the beach. The murmur of California urban life. But in Maya's small apartment, everything had changed. She had taken the first step towards something she had no idea where it would lead her. Maya woke up the next morning to the sound of her phone vibrating incessantly on the nightstand. The California sun was already flooding the room, indicating she had slept later than usual. For a moment, amid drowsiness, she almost forgot what she had done the night before. Then reality hit her like a cold wave. The post. Trembling hands, she picked up her phone. Her screen was exploding with notifications, likes, comments, direct messages, shares. The number of views had grown exponentially overnight. "Oh my God," she sighed, sitting on the edge of the bed. Jessica appeared at the bedroom door, still wearing her blue hospital scrubs, with a coffee cup in hand and a worried expression. "Maya? Are you okay? Your phone hasn't stopped ringing since I got home an hour ago." Maya showed the screen to her friend, who widened her eyes seeing the numbers. "Dude, this went viral. You have over 50,000 likes and—" Jessica paused to count. "Over 3,000 comments. Maya, this is incredible." But Maya didn't feel incredible. She felt exposed, vulnerable, as if she were naked in the middle of Times Square. She began scrolling through the comments, and her stomach churned with each word. There were touching support messages. "You are an inspiration. Thank you for sharing your story. You gave me courage to talk to my family." But there were also cruel comments, full of hate and ignorance that she expected, but which still cut deep. "I can't read anymore," Maya said, handing the phone to Jessica and covering her face with her hands. Jessica sat beside her and put her arm around her shoulders. "Hey, look at me. You did something brave last night. Those horrible people in the comments, they don't know you. They don't know your journey, your strength." During the day, while Maya tried to work on a logo project for a local client, notifications kept coming. She had set her phone to silent, but couldn't help looking from time to time. Around 2 p.m., Jessica returned from the supermarket with an air of urgency. "Maya, you need to see this," she said, waving her own phone. "Some major influencers have started sharing your story. Look here. Sarah Chen, that activist from Los Angeles with 2 million followers, shared your post with a beautiful message about trans representation." Maya looked at the screen and saw that Sarah had written, "This is Maya Rodriguez, and her courage in sharing her truth is exactly the kind of representation our community needs. Please show love to this incredible woman." "And it's not just her," Jessica continued excitedly. "Marcus Williams, that famous comedian, also shared. And look at this. GLAAD's official profile liked your post." Maya felt a mixture of emotion and panic. "Jess, this is getting too big. I don't know if I'm ready for all this attention." At that moment, her phone rang. It was a number she didn't recognize, with area code 323, Los Angeles. "Hello?" she answered hesitantly. "Hi, Maya. This is Rebecca Martinez from KTLA 5 News. We saw your story on social media and would like to know if you'd be interested in participating in an interview with us about your experience as a trans woman." Maya was in complete shock. Jessica was beside her, whispering, "What? Who is it?" I need to think about this," Maya stammered. "Can I call back?" After hanging up, she sat heavily on the sofa in her small living room. The apartment suddenly seemed too small to contain everything that was happening. "A TV station wants to interview me, Jess. This is getting out of control." Jessica sat beside her. "Maya, you have a choice in all this, okay? You don't have to do anything you don't feel comfortable with. But maybe this is the universe giving you an opportunity to reach people who really need to hear your story." Maya's phone rang again. This time, it was her cousin Elena, who lived in Phoenix. "Maya, girl, I saw your post. I can't believe you were so brave." Elena's voice was full of emotion. "I wanted you to know I'm so proud of you. And, Maya, our Aunt Rosa saw it too. She called me crying, saying she's always loved you but didn't know how to talk to you after everything." Maya began to cry. Elena was one of the few family members who had maintained contact with her over the years. "Really?" Maya asked, her voice choked. "Really. And there's more. Some cousins also saw it, and everyone's talking about you. Not everyone is ready yet, but Maya, you planted a seed. You took the first step." After hanging up, Maya looked out her living room window. Outside, Long Beach continued its normal routine. People walking their dogs, joggers running near the beach, the constant movement of a California coastal city. But inside her small apartment, her life had completely changed in less than 24 hours. Jessica brought her a cup of chamomile tea. "How are you feeling?" "Scared," Maya admitted. "But also hopeful? It's strange. I spent years hiding, trying to be invisible, and now suddenly half the world is looking at me." She picked up her phone again and began reading some of the most recent comments. Among the support messages, one caught her attention. "Maya, I'm the mother of a 16-year-old trans girl. She saw your post today, and for the first time in months I saw her truly smile. Thank you for showing her there's a future, there's hope. You don't know the gift you gave me today." Maya showed the message to Jessica, who also began to cry. "That's why," Maya said softly. "That's why I had to tell my story." The sun began to set again over Long Beach, painting the sky in pink and orange tones that reflected on the Pacific Ocean. Maya knew the next day would bring even more attention, more questions, more opportunities and challenges she couldn't even imagine. But at that moment, sitting on her sofa with her best friend beside her, reading messages from people around the country who felt less alone because of her courage, Maya knew she had made the right decision. She had no idea that the biggest surprise of all was still to come. It was a typical Thursday in Long Beach when Maya woke up to discover her life was about to change again. 4 days had passed since she posted her story, and although the attention had diminished somewhat, she still received dozens of support messages daily. Maya was at her small work desk, editing a project for a local bakery, when her phone started exploding with notifications. But this time was different. The notifications wouldn't stop coming, one after another, as if something very big was happening. Jessica, who was making coffee in the kitchen, shouted from the living room, "Maya! Maya, you need to see this now!" The urgency in her friend's voice made Maya drop everything and run to the living room, where Jessica stood in the middle of the room, mouth open, looking at her own phone. "What happened? Did someone die?" Maya asked, feeling her heart accelerate. Jessica turned her phone screen toward Maya, and what she saw made her immediately sit down on the sofa. It was a screenshot of Snoop Dogg's Instagram, Calvin Cortazar Broadus Jr. himself, with his 78 million followers, and there was Maya's post shared in his stories, with a message that instantly filled Maya's eyes with tears. "Yo, this beautiful soul Maya got my respect. Takes real courage to live your truth, especially when the world ain't ready for it. But that's what makes you strong, baby girl. Keep shining your light. Uncle Snoop got love for you. Much respect. Live your truth. Respect game." Maya read the message 3 times before she could process what was happening. "Jessica," she whispered. Snoop Dogg just publicly supported me?" "Not only supported you, Maya. He called you baby girl and said you have his respect. Snoop Dogg's." Maya's phone came back to life with a flood of notifications. Within minutes, Snoop's share had generated thousands of new followers, hundreds of comments and mentions everywhere. Maya was in complete shock. How did he even find my story? How is this possible? Jessica was browsing Twitter now. "Maya, you're trending. Maya Rodriguez is literally trending in the United States. And look at this. Celebrities are starting to share too. Lizzo just tweeted about you." They spent the next hour reading message after message. Maya's original post had gained over 500,000 likes, and Snoop's story had already been viewed by millions of people. Then Maya's phone rang. It was a number with area code 310. "Hello?" she answered nervously. "Maya Rodriguez? This is Marcus Johnson from Snoop Dogg's social media team. Uncle Snoop would like to speak with you personally, if possible. He's very touched by your story and wants to do something special to support you and the trans community." Maya was completely speechless. Jessica had to take the phone from her hand and explain that Maya was available for a conversation. Hour later, Maya was sitting on her bed, laptop open, waiting for a video call. Jessica was beside her, equally nervous and excited. The call came exactly on time. And there he was, Snoop Dogg on her laptop screen, smiling warmly at her. "What's up, baby girl? Maya, right? How you doing, sweetheart?" Maya was trembling with nervousness. "Hi, Mr. Snoop. I can't believe I'm talking to you." Snoop laughed, that characteristic warm laugh. "Call me Uncle Snoop, baby. And let me tell you something. I've been in this game a long time, and I've seen a lot of courage, but what you did? That takes some real strength, Mama. Maya began to cry. Thank you for supporting me. I never imagined that someone like you— Hold up. Hold up. Snoop interrupted gently. Let me tell you where this came from. My granddaughter, she's 14, and she's been struggling with her identity, you know? What I'm saying? My daughter sent me your story. And when I read it, man, it hit me right here. He pointed to his heart. That could be my baby talking about her struggles. Maya wiped her tears. Really? For real. And I realized, man, I got this platform. I got all these followers, and if I can use that to help people like you feel less alone, then that's what I'm gonna do. We all human, baby girl. We all deserve love and respect. Snoop then made a proposal that left Maya speechless. I want to invite you to come to LA, be my guest at my next show. I want you to share your story on stage with me. I want my audience to hear from you directly. What you say? Maya looked at Jessica, who was frantically gesturing for her to accept. I would be honored, Uncle Snoop, but I get nervous speaking in public. Baby, you already spoke to the whole world when you posted your story. You already braver than most people I know. And don't worry, I'll be right there with you. After the call, Maya sat in silence for long minutes. Jessica was on the phone with her mother, telling her everything that had happened. Jess, Maya, finally said, do you think this is real? Like, is this really happening? Jessica hung up the phone and sat beside her friend. Maya, baby, this isn't just real. This is the universe recognizing your courage and amplifying your voice. You deserve all this beauty that's happening. Maya looked out the window at the familiar streets of Long Beach. A week ago, she was just another person trying to pay bills and live her life quietly. Now, one of the world's most influential artists was offering his platform to amplify her message of authenticity and self-love. Her phone rang again. This time it was her cousin Elena. Maya. Girl. The whole family saw what Snoop Dogg posted about you. Aunt Rosa called crying, saying she wants to talk to you. And cousin, even your father sent a message. Maya held her breath. What did he say? He said, maybe he was wrong about some things, and that he's proud to see you've become a strong person. Maya began to cry again, but this time they were tears of healing, of hope, of possibilities she had never imagined. Outside, the sun set once more over Long Beach, but Maya knew a new day was dawning in her life, a day when her voice would be heard, her story would be valued, and maybe, just maybe, she could help other people find their own courage to live authentically. And it had all started with an honest post on a quiet night in her small apartment. 3 weeks after Snoop Dogg's fateful share, Maya was backstage at the Microsoft Theater in Los Angeles, more nervous than she had ever been in her life. The venue was packed, 7,100 people waiting for the benefit show, Unity and Love, organized especially by Snoop to raise funds for organizations supporting LGBTQ+ youth. Maya wore a royal blue dress that Jessica had insisted she buy, and her hair was styled in soft waves that framed her face. She was unrecognizable from the shy woman who had posted her story just a month ago. You ready, baby girl? Asked Snoop, appearing beside her with that paternal smile she had learned to love. He wore a stunning golden suit and his characteristic sunglasses. I don't know if I'll ever be ready for something like this, Maya admitted, nervously adjusting the microphone they had given her. Let me tell you something, said Snoop, gently placing his hand on her shoulder. A month ago, you had the courage to tell your truth to strangers on the internet. Tonight, you're gonna tell your truth to friends. Because everyone out there, they already love you, baby. Maya took a deep breath. In recent weeks, her life had turned upside down in ways she could never have imagined. The original post had reached over 2 million views. She had been interviewed by Ellen DeGeneres, appeared on the cover of Time magazine as one of the emerging voices of 2025, and received support messages from hundreds of celebrities. More importantly, she had received over 50,000 messages from trans people around the world, telling how her story had impacted their lives. Parents who had reconciled with trans children, young people who had found courage to embrace their identity, and companies that had changed their inclusion policies after reading her experience. "And there's a surprise for you tonight," said Snoop with a mischievous smile. Before Maya could ask what it was, Jessica appeared running, her face radiant with happiness. "Maya, you won't believe who's here." She turned, and her heart almost stopped. Walking toward her were her Aunt Rosa, her cousin Elena, and her father. Miguel Rodriguez looked much older than Maya remembered, with more wrinkles around his eyes and grayer hair. He hesitated for a moment when he saw her, then opened his arms. "Mija," he said with a choked voice. "Forgive me. Perdón por todo." Maya ran into her father's arms, and they cried together for the first time in years. Snoop watched the scene with a big smile, discreetly wiping his own eyes. "I told you," he whispered to Jessica. "Tonight is about healing." Minutes later, Maya was on stage, looking at an audience of thousands of people. The lights were blinding, but she could see faces of all types, ages, colors, all united in support. "Good evening, Los Angeles," she said into the microphone, and the crowd exploded in applause. "A month ago, I was just a scared girl in Long Beach wondering whether or not to share my story. I was afraid of rejection, judgment, of being misunderstood." She paused, looking toward the backstage where she could see her father, Snoop, Jessica, and all her new chosen family. "But I learned something important. Our authenticity is our greatest gift to the world. When we live our truth, we give permission for others to do the same." The audience was completely silent, absorbing every word. "I grew up thinking I had to choose between being loved and being authentic, but I discovered we cannot be truly loved until we are truly ourselves." Maya looked directly at the cameras that were broadcasting the show live. "To every trans person watching tonight, especially the young ones, you are valid, you are loved, and you deserve to take up space in this world. To every father, mother, family struggling to understand, love is always the way. And to everyone else, thank you for allowing me to share my heart with you." The ovation was deafening. People stood up, cried, applauded for minutes on end. Snoop came on stage and hugged Maya. "That's my baby girl right there, Maya Rodriguez, everybody." Later that night, at a small party after the show at an intimate restaurant in West Hollywood, Maya was sitting at a table with her family, both biological and chosen. Her father had spent the entire night apologizing and listening to her stories from recent years. "Mija," said Miguel, holding his daughter's hands, "I'm sorry it took me so long to understand, but I want you to know, I never stopped loving you. I just didn't know how to show it." "I know, Papa," Maya replied. "Healing takes time. For all of us." Jessica was on her phone, showing Maya the reactions on social media. The show had been a worldwide trending topic for 3 consecutive hours. "Maya, look at this," said Jess excitedly. "The Trevor Project said they received the highest number of support calls in their history during the show. And look here, a crowdfunding campaign for trans people in transition raised $500,000 just today." Snoop approached the table, holding a glass of gin and juice. "Maya, baby girl, I got something to tell you. My granddaughter watched tonight, and for the first time she told her mama she's ready to start living her truth. Because of you." Maya began to cry, again. It seemed she had cried more in the last month than in the previous 5 years combined. "Uncle Snoop, I can't thank you enough for all this." "Nah, baby, you did the hard work. You found your courage. You shared your truth. You opened your heart. All I did was amplify what was already beautiful." When Maya finally returned to Long Beach in the early morning hours, she stood on her apartment balcony, looking at the Pacific, ocean bathed in moonlight. The sound of the waves was the same as always, but everything else in her life had completely changed. Her phone vibrated with a message. It was from a 16-year-old girl in Ohio. "Maya, I watched your speech tonight. For the first time, I'm not afraid to tell my parents who I really am. Thank you for showing me it's possible to be happy being authentic. You saved my life." Maya smiled through her tears. She thought of herself a month ago, sitting in this same apartment, typing her first post with trembling hands and racing heart. She never could have imagined that her decision to share her truth would result in all this. Family reconciliation, a national platform, friendship with a music legend, and most importantly, the opportunity to help other people find their own voices. Jessica came out on the balcony with 2 cups of tea. "How are you feeling, superstar?" Maya laughed. "Grateful, overwhelmed, hopeful, and ready to use this platform to make a real difference." "And what comes next?" Maya looked at the horizon, where the first lights of dawn were beginning to appear over Long Beach. "I think it's time to start a nonprofit for trans youth who need support during transition. Uncle Snoop already offered initial funding, and I have some ideas." Jessica smiled. "Of course you do. Because you, Maya Rodriguez, are no longer the scared girl who used to hide. You are a force of nature." Maya laughed, feeling more at home in her own skin than she had ever felt. "You know what? You're right. And this is just the beginning." The sun rose over Long Beach, painting the sky in pink and golden tones, and Maya knew with certainty that this was really just the beginning of her journey to help others live their truths with courage, love, and authenticity. Her story had become bigger than herself. It had become a beacon of hope for anyone struggling to be seen, accepted, and loved exactly as they are.